Hello and welcome to Manhwa Times, where we dive into the world of Manhwa. We are discussing today the King of Dead Souls, so without a further ado, let's start the video.
Plade asserts confidently that this is the reason for his journey, to which Carrick agrees, while Plade expresses his cheerful belief that the late ruler and his wife would have been pleased. Karnak is taken aback by the news of his father and stepmother's demise, and it is revealed that his two younger brothers have also passed away. Plade mentions that he feels reassured now that the family is in capable hands. Karnak begins to understand why he has assumed the role of master and contemplates the circumstances surrounding his family's deaths. The purpose of his journey becomes evident: it was likely to master magic unnoticed. Dumped Cart remarks on the peculiarity of Karnak being so open about his intentions. Karnak reflects that this may explain why he mentioned a potential journey, questioning the necessity of magic in such a situation. Plade, in a bright tone, asks what concerns them, to which Barrows explains that Karnak is fatigued from his travels, suggesting they discuss matters tomorrow. Plade apologizes for not considering this and encourages Karnak to rest in his room before departing. The remaining five celebrate Jeel's absence, with Dumped Cart noting that they have temporarily evaded the issue but will need to confront it later, as everything Karnak said was entirely new to them. Karnak mentions that there are effective strategies for such times, expressing certainty about what they should prepare for and urging haste while everyone sleeps. As night falls, we find Plade asleep in his bed, while Dumped Cart observes that he is completely unaware. He has prepared the herbs and hands them to Carrick, prompting Karnak to announce that it is time to begin the mind review. He starts to channel his energy into the bowl, creating a dark mist that begins to seep into Plade's nostrils. Plade awakens and responds affirmatively, and Karnak instructs him to detail the entire history of Jester's accounts and how he became the head of the family. Cart expresses his belief that this situation represents one of those rare instances where they truly did foresee the outcome. Karnak inquires about the demise of his entire family, to which Jeel explains that the problem stemmed from the location of the copper mine, situated within the neutral zone between the Jokester and Dentaire families. Both families claimed ownership of the mine, leading to a conflict that escalated into war. The Dentaires had consistently maintained their military strategies and were formidable opponents, as no one seemed capable of defeating Sir Randolph, who effectively killed Cut in battle and also murdered the eldest son of the family, Tessel, the household's finest knight. The second son, Ace, lost both of his legs due to Sir Randolph's actions and subsequently took his own life. The noble was deeply affected by these events and passed away shortly thereafter. In the end, young Ace Karnak was appointed as the successor, despite his youth, and both families agreed to a ceasefire until he reached maturity and could assume the official leadership of the family. However, concerns remained regarding the copper mine and the promise of reparations for the war. It was then that young Ace Karnak devised a plan to save his family. He challenged the Viscount de Merchant to a trial duel in the name of Alien, the goddess of the moon and justice. Cart is astonished by this decision, remarking that it is incredibly reckless. The trial duel is conducted under the rules of the Alien Order, allowing for a champion to be substituted in one's place, and it takes place in the presence of an impartial cleric. The victor is determined solely by the death of one of the combatants. Cart observes that Karnak has essentially dug his own grave, while Karnak laments that it was not his intention. Barrow comments that it is a futile endeavor, suggesting that this was why Karnak chose this path instead of continuing the war, as the Dentaires may not have refused the challenge. The acquisition of the copper mine would have significantly altered their circumstances, potentially allowing them to avoid starvation. Cart expresses that, given his current level of expertise, he is undoubtedly facing a grim fate. Consequently, he is determined to prepare diligently, inquiring with Jeel about the date of the duel. Jeel informs him that it is merely a month away. As Cart's neck begins to ache, he remarks that it is alarmingly close. He then notices a table laden with food, prompting Barrows to ask what it is. Karnak replies that he prepared it for Barrows, acknowledging his hard work and asserting that he deserves it. As Barrows begins to eat, he questions whether it is appropriate for him to be resting so close to the duel date. Karnak insists that he should take the time to recuperate. Barrows, however, realizes that this meal is merely a bribe and expresses his doubts about his ability to succeed. Karnak challenges him, noting that he has already defeated 3 of the 4 martial lords. Barrows counters that his victories were solely due to his magical abilities, emphasizing that one does not acquire martial skills through experience alone. He elaborates that mastering advanced swordsmanship marksmanship is futile without the necessary physical prowess, and while he could achieve this with 6 months of training, a month is insufficient. Karnak then takes the food away, instructing Barrows to stop eating. Barrows questions why he does not seek assistance from someone within the Night Order. Karnak responds that he would not be present if there were anyone sufficiently skilled in that order. Kart realizes he has only one option left, to utilize his magic, and he now understands the reason for his training. Karnak warns him, however, that this magic is prohibited. He reminds Barrows of their previous escape, during which they managed to eliminate a family discreetly using magic, only for the cleric of the Alien Order to identify him as the culprit, convinced of his status as a magician after they were apprehended by several knights. Karnak begins to invoke some incantations. He is the sorcerer, employing dark enchantments as they ascend towards the cleric, who attempts to activate their gatekeeper plaques, which belong to the Alien Order. However, their abilities prove inadequate, as they are swiftly severed in half by the apparitions. Karnak gestures, directing the phantoms towards the knights, who are immediately knocked down. He informs Barrows that they must leave before the others catch up, pondering how they discovered he was the one wielding magic. Barrows reads the situation, noting that only civilians, mages, and knights would be unaware, while individuals like the cleric are exceptions. Karnak is taken aback by this revelation, prompting Barrows to chuckle as he reflects on the harsh times they have endured, yet he understands the current order. Barrows suggests they should acquire some money and flee, to which Karnak responds that it would be a shame, given that all the family members he despised have perished, leaving only those like him. Barrows questions whether Karnak intends to maintain the facade of a noble patriarch, to which Karnak asserts that it is not a facade and instructs him to sit down, acknowledging the danger but revealing he has a plan. His thoughts shift to the northern post of Dentaire, where he observes men preparing, all appearing exhausted except for one, Randolph. Someone inquires about the preparations for the duel, and we learn the inquirer's name is Bright. Randolph questions the need for arrangements to confront someone so inept, to which Bright agrees but cautions against underestimating the situation. Randolph expresses frustration at having to waste time due to a misguided young master who lacks worldly knowledge. Bright, however, believes Randolph will not lose, yet acknowledges that the new master must have some strategy in place. Meanwhile, a vendor is seen selling goods outside, and Bright finds it amusing, urging everyone to return to their tasks. Randolph possesses combat effectiveness, however, in a one-on-one confrontation, his opponent stands a reasonable chance of victory. He is rather straightforward and employs conventional heavy sword techniques, lacking advanced skills. This predictability makes it easy to anticipate his movements. Fortunately, he has arrived with at least a month remaining before the duel, although he doubts this is sufficient time for improvement. A woman then approaches him, inquiring if he has any dealings with her brother, Randolph. He becomes quite enthusiastic, asking if she is his younger sister. She confirms her identity and asks about the nature of his business with him. Randolph explains that he was trained by the strongest knight of the north and offers her some of his garments, asking if she would like one. She selects a piece, stating it looks appealing. Barrows hopes she did not notice his earlier behavior at the jester's domain. He then returns to inquire with Karnak about the progress of his stamina training. Karnak, having passed out, is shaken awake by the mana pushcart, who urges him to rise before he becomes ill again. Barrows asks if he completed the laps as instructed, to which Karnak replies affirmatively, though he admits he collapsed and can no longer run. The pushcart comments on his lack of stamina, prompting Karnak to question the purpose of such rigorous training. The pushcart explains that his current physical condition is inadequate for any meaningful activity, emphasizing the need to persist. Karnak insists on resting first, but Barrows becomes serious, stating that the Real training begins now. Karnak wonders what he was doing previously, and Barrows clarifies that it was merely rehabilitation, indicating that it is now time to commence genuine training. Karnak perceives Barrows as a daunting figure, with only 20 days remaining until the duel.
Hope you enjoyed the video, then don't forget to like, subscribe and share the video. Thanks for watching, see you in the next video. Till that time, take care.